Hey everyone, Johannes Kornberger here from Mackinder Insights. In this video, I want to talk about Iran, its nuclear program, and why we might start to see the Iranian regime start to look a little bit like North Korea in the next few months and years ahead. Iran has been absolutely battered over the last few weeks with strikes from Israel and from the U.S. We've seen essentially a major strategic shift in the balance of power across the Middle East. Israel has been able to effect some very harsh strikes on the Iranian regime, not just on its nuclear sites, but also on its conventional military and its deterrence. It's been able to hit missile depots, it's been able to hit missile launches, it's been able to take out Iranian air defenses, and it's also shown the ability to establish complete air superiority over the skies of Tehran, which not many people were expecting, to be honest. I think the international community was looking at this situation thinking it would escalate much further, but the response from the Iranian side was actually a lot more muted than many expected. Even when it came to the symbolic response to the U.S. strikes on its nuclear facilities, Iran showed a lot of restraint and coordinated the strike on the U.S. airbase in Qatar with the authorities in Doha. So it seems like there has always been a desire from the Iranian side to make sure that this war doesn't escalate into a full-scale, let's say, regional war bringing in the United States. That was never the intention. But what we have seen is an ability from the Israeli side to control not only the international narrative at the diplomatic level, but also an ability to sell the case to Donald Trump that he should get involved in these strikes. So where does that leave Iran today, and what does that mean for its nuclear program? Well, Iran has been strategically debilitated. Its regional network of proxies, which include the Houthi rebels, which include Hezbollah and Hamas, have been severely debilitated. And we didn't see any kind of bandwagoning response when Israel attacked Iran. Those actors remained relatively quiet, partially because they couldn't do that much. Over the last 2 or 3 years, Israel has been gathering intelligence and strategically debilitating these actors, so there's not much they could do anyway. When it comes to Iran's situation in the region, there's not much Russia or China could have done either. China buys a lot of its oil from Iran, so it was eager to keep that Hormuz Strait open. Russia is completely preoccupied in Ukraine, and it doesn't want another repeat of what happened in Syria, where its strategic forces there were essentially ousted, and the number one ally, the President Assad, he ended up flying over to Moscow for refuge. So they didn't want the same situation to happen in Iran, so they decided to stay away, even though from the Russian perspective, they probably would have liked to see Iran, without nuclear weapons going forward. So that leaves Iran quite exposed, quite isolated on the international stage, no friends nearby to support it militarily, and it has just had to sit back and watch as Israel picks off various targets from the air. That's not a great situation if you're a threshold nuclear state, if your regime relies on strict internal control and your military is essentially built to crack down on dissent. It means that Iran is overexposed and vulnerable, but it also means that they could do crazy things in the weeks ahead as they try and get back on track, as they try to reestablish deterrence. So what does that mean for their nuclear program? Without the operational sites at Natanz, at Esfahan, at Fordow, Iran may have to reconsider how it goes about its nuclear program, may have to recalibrate, and it will have to do so, especially because the oversight from Israel and from the U.S. will be even more now than it was before. The Israelis will be watching every single corner of the Iranian regime to make sure that they do not restart enrichment in the ways that they've been doing it. So what we might see in the future from Iran is more of a hermit state, more of a pariah on the international stage, a country that turns on itself, turns inward, and starts to develop these capabilities with the sole purpose of avenging the attacks that it has experienced over the last 12 days. we've seen similar things happen in North Korea when they decided to exit the non-proliferation treaty back in the early 2000s. It only took North Korea 2 or 3 years to develop and test their first nuclear device. A similar thing may happen now with Iran, which is also considering to exit the non-proliferation treaty. So what we might see is Iran taking a step back from the international community. We may see them, start to develop nuclear weapons in the background in secret. And it could also be the case that Iran decides to eventually come out and say, we've tested a nuclear device and now you can never touch us again. That's one option. That's probably their goal now that they do not have much conventional or even the threat of nuclear deterrence up their sleeve. So if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe for more. I'll be coming out with more long-form content in the future. Thanks for watching.